So I played Battlefield 6 pretty much the entire day on October 10 when it dropped, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. I think that there's a lot of really positive, awesome things about Battlefield 6. It feels like a true return to what made Battlefield great, especially after we kind of had that flop with Battlefield 2042. Now, I've been seeing a lot of different reactions to Battlefield 6. There's people that are absolutely loving it, people that don't care for it, people that are absolutely hating it. There's a whole mixed sort of bag. And the thing is, I have noticed a lot of people making some kind of claims about Battlefield or the potential of its relevance, things like that. And there's some points I've seen a lot of people making online that I just don't think fits with Battlefield. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today, because ultimately Battlefield is not Call of Duty and Call of Duty is not Battlefield. So I'll explain in this video what I mean by that. So let's just dive right on into it. So Battlefield 6 opened up with a pretty solid first day. The launch was a little bit rocky, but it was a very hyped up game. A lot of people were trying to get on all at the same time. There were issues with EA's app, a little bit of some server queue times, things like that. But for the most part, it launched in a pretty solid state compared to some other video games. There were over 700,000 people all at the same time on Steam. So clearly this was a really big launch. Now the thing is with Battlefield 6, it seems like things are split between kind of different crowds that I've sort of identified and split into my own little categorizations based off of the reactions that I've been seeing. The first crowd are Battlefield fans that wanted a return to form for the series. The second crowd are Call of Duty fans that thought Battlefield would be like Call of Duty. The third crowd are Call of Duty fans that feel like Call of Duty just isn't clicking with them anymore and they want a change of pace, and Battlefield is another option for them. And the fourth crowd are people who are indifferent and just want to play some video games, so they picked up Battlefield because it sounds like it would be fun. The thing is, a good number of people who have tried Battlefield, I've noticed from the Call of Duty community, especially we'll call them streamers, they have some complaints that I don't really agree with when it comes to Battlefield. Now, for context, I'm a fan of both. I've been playing both for years. I recognize that they're different. They've got a different pacing, they've got a different style, and that's kind of part of the issue with some of the complaints that I've heard. As a Call of Duty player and a Battlefield player, each game I feel has its own sort of system. The thing is though, some of the Call of Duty only type people have made some complaints that have been reiterated across multiple of them. And here are some of the common complaints that I kind of saw while I was scrolling and watching some videos. The first one is that there's nothing to do, supposedly, in Battlefield, that Battlefield needs something competitive, that Battlefield has to have a battle royale in order to stay relevant, that Battlefield needs to have more of a grind, that Battlefield needs a variation in the formula. The thing with that one especially though is that Battlefield fans didn't really want a variation, they wanted a return to form, which is kind of why Battlefield 6 got so much praise and hype around it, because it actually was a return to form. Now, while everybody has their own style and preference, I think the problem is people are missing what Battlefield's core is actually supposed to be. You see, Battlefield is not Call of Duty, like I said before. Battlefield is a sandbox first-person shooter with destruction, squad-based gameplay, and different roles. It's more of, in my opinion, a bit of a casual game that you play for fun. You don't need to top the leaderboard in order to enjoy it. You play on the objective and not just for a KD, because that doesn't really matter much in Battlefield. Of course, you still have to do good, but the point is you have to actually contribute to winning by securing objectives, whatever that may be in the game mode you're playing, not necessarily doing better in KD like you notice in Call of Duty. I mean, if you just ran around the map in Battlefield and revived a bunch of players the whole time and secured objectives, you will probably be doing better than somebody who was just playing to get higher kills. Team play in Battlefield is super important. Each role is basically necessary. You have to have a variety and a mix of people on each team. You need engineers because those guys repair vehicles, they take down tanks, things like that. Support, they revive people. Super important job. Assault pushes forward. They're like the front line basically. Recon takes out from a distance and they spot for people. Each class has a purpose because it's a team-based objective game. Call of Duty, meanwhile, is an arcade shooter. It's got different elements in each installment, but this is not the the same thing as Battlefield. Battlefield does actually include a sort of Call of Duty style, we can call it close quarters mode like team deathmatch and domination, but it's not the exact same play style as Call of Duty. Battlefield movement isn't as fast-paced and crazy like you see in Call of Duty games because the game isn't designed to be that way. It wouldn't fit the actual base gameplay of Battlefield. Just look at Battlefield 2042, which tried to emulate very much the Call of Duty style of movement, and it just doesn't work. Most people are not going to be slide canceling around the map and bunny hopping everywhere because that's just not how Battlefield is meant to be played. Another common complaint that I saw is that it needs a battle royale and battle passes and all that to stay relevant. Battlefield is going to have a battle royale mode. I think it's going to be dropping in about 2 weeks or October 28-ish with season 1 basically. And it's going to have a battle pass, so that's already covered, but even so, even if it didn't have a battle royale, I don't think every game needs a BR. I feel like the whole concept of battle royales being in every first-person shooter game has kind of become boring and has in a way sort of ruined first-person shooters, because everybody expects everything to be like a battle royale these days, and they want to have this sort of overly competitive sort of system. Anyways though, Battlefield is going to have a battle royale and it's supposed to be competitive. It's going to sort of be like a rival to Warzone. And in general, there is a lot to do in Battlefield. One of the things that appealed to me as a person about Battlefield's gameplay is that no two games are going to be alike. Sure, you might spawn in the exact same map for 2 games in a row, but it depends on how you're playing. You can change your class, you can change your weapons, it depends on how the other people on your team and the opposing team are actually playing the game. Plus, there is a grind, there's weapon progression, there's camos. I mean, you're not gonna get dark matter and sort of these animated types of camos and things like that, but it's not really designed to be that sort of game. Leveling is slow, I'll give you that, but it's not going to be like Call of Duty because they're just not the same. You see, while Call of Duty promotes this sort of movement, these sorts of gameplay things, it promotes this constant weapon camo grinding. Ultimately, the Battlefield player base is not going to be the exact same thing. There might be overlap, like in my case for instance, but you have to sort of acknowledge that they're different. I don't think Battlefield needs to do the things that people mentioned above to stay relevant. I think what Battlefield needs to do is just keep dropping content that works for the game and to not include and incorporate things that don't make sense, to not change what makes Battlefield Battlefield. Because when will we sort of kind of acknowledge that the reason games like this are failing these days is because they are trying to appeal to literally everyone and not just their actual player base. Warzone, for instance, is super relevant to this discussion because it took what made it special in the first place and destroyed all of that. I mean, look at Warzone 1's hype versus Warzone 2. It changed up the movement, the style, the look. It was trying to be like Fortnite, but still somehow itself and not itself. Here's the thing, is Warzone thriving the way Fortnite is? No, Fortnite started out super different, right? It wasn't this like sort of place where you had all these collabs, but it built up the base around that. Warzone built its base around being a more grittier version of this battle royale genre, and it's like Call of Duty, a free-to-play Call of Duty experience. That's a very different sort of base that you're going for. Other battle royales like PUBG, for instance, kept its own style even with the goofy skins, but it works for their player base. They're not trying to be Fortnite either, and PUBG did, I believe, come out before Fortnite. But anyways, just appeal to your player base the right way, and that's how you're gonna succeed. I don't think it's logical for Battlefield to copy Call of Duty, nor for Call of Duty to copy Battlefield. I think you can definitely take inspiration from individual elements, because at the end of the day, that's just kind of how things work, but I don't think they need to be the same sort of system, the same movement, and the same game. If you want to do movement exploits and run around the map and bunny hop and slide cancel, that's a Call of Duty thing. If you want to have a more strategic sort of system to gameplay, you want to play more as a team, you want to go for objectives a lot more, that sounds like Battlefield. And the thing is, people who say that Battlefield is a boring game kind of confuse me, because when you're watching both games, Call of Duty kind of looks more boring to watch unless you're just like really good at the movement, and that appeals to some people. Personally, that doesn't appeal to me at all. I don't really care for that movement stuff. The YYing and the bunny hopping, I don't really know why people like that. I don't really see the point of it, but in Battlefield, it's fun because there's just stuff happening all around you. There's things going crazy in the distance. There's people fighting it out on certain objectives. There's jets and helicopters flying over top. There's tanks rolling through. There's always something happening in every single game. Personally, I find that more appealing as a player, but I think both games have their own system that works for them. I don't think they should copy each other. And that's ultimately kind of the issue that I I have with a lot of these critiques from the more Call of Duty oriented streamers, it's that they're expecting Battlefield to be Call of Duty 2.0 when it's really not. It was never supposed to be Call of Duty. It's kind of like, oh well, Titanfall's not like Call of Duty. Yeah, Titanfall has a similar idea, but Titanfall's also got robots and actual proper wall running and sci-fi elements. So there's a difference between all of these games. We can't expect all of them to be the same. Anyways though, let me know in the comments what you guys think about Battlefield 6 and Black Ops 7, what you think about these games, if you like them, if you don't, why or why not, that sort of thing. Like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications set to all so you never miss out on another upload, and that's all for today, folks.